sounded so good. Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, that's right. Good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition of Florida Talk Real Estate. Great to have you with us on this Saturday. It's the today the 1st, or is it the 31st?
It's the 1st.
It's the 1st. Thank you very much. Yeah, January has zoomed right on by, and it is so awesome to have you with it. We're Saturday again. 2 hours of infotainment is what we offer you up, and I see you out there, 92.1, 101.7, waiting for your offering. Thank you very much. You see him, Jimothy?
I do, yeah, on the horizon, right over there.
And of course, that big smoke signal over there, that's everyone using the iHeartRadio app worldwide. And of course, we live stream on a Saturday. Find us on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, on YouTube. That's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube. Live stream on both. Thanks for being with us right out the gates. Of course, you're always welcome to be a part of the program. Toll-free number, 877-927-6969. You got questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? You want to dive into the conversation at hand? Do it. First voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, my brother from another mother. Jimothy, how you be?
Doing mighty fine. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm awesome, dude. Thank you very much for asking.
Excellent.
Always good to see you. I'm your old buddy, your pal, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Let's get your starting lineup on this Saturday morning. It's always a pleasure to say good morning to my friend and yours. It's Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well,
You know, 2026 is right around the corner.
You kid?
Really?
So it's hard to realize the reality of time and relativity until you get a bunch of that time under your belt. You know, all the youngsters,
sure,
whatever. Yeah, go ahead and get 30, 40 years under your belt there, and wow, does time zoom on by.
So
amazing.
I can't believe January is already behind us. I was hoping you were going to say it was the 31st.
No, I remember seeing a number 1 on my calendar on the iPhone. I haven't verified that yet, so
I'm going to verify. It's the 1st. All right. Awesome. Let's go ahead and say good morning to our fearless leader. It's 13 plus years now, I can say, that he's run a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations, the Florida Home Pros team, is where you find my guy, Jimmy D. Jim DiPaola, how you be?
Hey, good, Johnny. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
A little nipply in here.
Yeah, everybody's cold. Everybody's cold today. And, man, I overslept today. I was sleeping so good that I was enjoying my sleep. And I'm like, I think I should wait. My inner mind was like saying, I think you should wake up now. And I was like, nah. And then I was like, okay, I better look at my clock. Why isn't it going off? And my alarm was on mute, so it was going off, but no noise.
Oh, boy.
40 minutes late. I was like, rush. Everything was rushed today.
I hate when mornings start that way.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, that's the worst. You almost,
it is.
Like it takes a while for it to kind of ease out of you.
I'm not there yet.
No, you're still not there yet? Well, we have time. We got 2 hours.
Yeah, we got time. And have a lot of really good stuff to talk about today and fun stuff. Hopefully we'll have some teachable moments about what's going on for real in the real estate market, not people's opinions, but real life examples of what's happening out there. We're also going to be talking about some things that have come up this week that I think is very interesting. We're going to talk about blind offers in a different way than we have before. I'm going to tell you what blind offers is later. If you don't know what a blind offer is, we're going to teach you all about that. Also, I've had a couple of permit problems with houses lately, so I want to talk about permit horror stories about things that people chose to do that really screwed up or could screw up your sale or purchase. So we're going to talk about pulling permits. Want to start off, though, first with some shout outs because we've had a pretty busy week here at the Florida Talk Real Estate team. Wanted to give a shout out to Michael and Rissa. They're going to be buying their first home with us. I'm really excited to help them. We're going to be using some type of down payment assistance program. We don't know if it's going to be the Florida Bond program or the Hometown Heroes program because it depends on when they're going to buy. But we had the consultation this week and taught them how to use Mike's app, the Quick Qual app. I always call it Quick Cal, but it's Quick Qual, like quick qualification.
There it is.
I always think about quick calculation. But really looking forward to helping them. We sat down. The consultation's about an hour and a half long. They walked away with tons of information, tons of knowledge, and a whole bunch of properties that they're probably going to want to see later this week coming. So thank you so much for trusting us to work with you. Now, without being too rude about this, I just want to be real. Michael and Rissa were with another agent before me, and it was one of those, hey, I know you guys are really good, but I want to use my mother's brother's sister's cousin kind of thing.
Oh boy.
And they worked with them for a few months and nothing came of it. And then they decided to turn to me afterwards. And when we were done with the meeting, I said, so did you find out more about the home buying process than you had with the previous person? And they were like, oh yeah, yeah.
So they've done 3 transactions total.
So well, actually, that was a different one, and this one was 0 transactions.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
They're the
yeah.
starter.
Yeah,
Fisher
and
Price,
they were-
my first realtor.
and they and to be fair, everybody starts out. I was a 0 transaction
course, you
agent
gotta
too.
do one,
Yeah,
of course.
you gotta get going,
I
right?
understand, I do.
So I'm not beating them up, but when you're in a market like this,
This
and
is
you're
not the
first
time for training wheels.
Yeah.
It's not.
unless you have somebody really, really hard worker and really's out there every day and really trying to learn. And that wasn't.
I'm going to sell her. I'm
Yeah.
getting there. No, it's not the time for training wheels.
Okay, I'm trying to be
Yeah.
too nice here,
That's
Johnny.
cool. You can. No.
Mhm.
Just hey, there are bad decisions made every day, and we're
Yeah,
actually
that's true.
highlighting.
Yes,
We-
that's right. Today we will.
We
And-
got the guy that doesn't have training wheels anymore.
Exactly.
Took him off last week.
He did, yeah.
And there he
Yeah,
goes.
there we go. Zoom. I wanted to give a shout out to Rachel and James. They're selling a home in Palm Beach Gardens. We went under contract today. We're going to talk a little bit about active under contract in a little bit. Really happy for them. The buyers, I think, are doing the inspection today or Monday, so we have to go through the inspection and the appraisal period. But everything's looking good for them, and they're very, very happy with the price that they took and the terms they took. So hopefully everything goes smooth like all
Yeah.
the other ones.
Seriously.
Wanted to give a shout out to Daniel and Lynn. I've been working with Daniel and Lynn since December, trying to place them in a specific property. And we're having some issues because we found out that property had construction problems that were very structural. So what we're going to be doing, their first time home buyers also, Daniel and Lynn. So today after the show, we're going to be going out and showing them 5 other properties to see, just to compare and see if they want to go forward with the property that they're in contract with, or to back out of that contract and buy something else. Now, to be fair, you're not supposed to do that when you're a buyer because you're in contract.
Right?
But the buyer side and the seller side, Daniel and Lynn and the seller have been very open about this. The seller knows they're home shopping because the seller has to deal with the structural issues, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. So everybody's been very fair and equal to each other.
Good.
So
Transparent.
it's just been, both sides have been just such a lovely experience to watch because neither side tried to take advantage of each other. They both care about each other. They want the right thing to happen. It's like, wow, there's just a lot of like really good karma here.
There are good people out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm really happy for all of them. I'm sure it's going to work out. And whether they do the deal together or they do deal separately, they're both going to do fine. And I'm really happy. But Daniel and Lynn are going out home shopping today. So they're really excited about that. Wanted to give a shout out to big radio show fans, Lisa and Kevin. They live in Boynton Beach. I saw a really emotional, heartwarming post they put out because we put their house on the market on Thursday of this week. They have a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home, 2-car garage in a really great community of Briar Bay in West Palm Beach. I say Boynton Beach. I meant to say West Palm. I apologize. And we put their house on the market. We've had 5 showings already. We've had 1 offer. We only put it on the house on Thursday. So we're going to find out today if we're going to take that offer or not. And they're going to be moving from their house that they built. They built that house, I think it was 1997. They've lived there the whole time. Now they're empty nesters or almost empty nesters. It's time for them to move someplace else. So they're thinking about moving up north, North Florida, not out of state, new construction home, which when you get to that age, when you get up to the retirement age, if you're going to buy something new again, if you're going to buy your quote last home, a lot of people should really consider new construction because of insurance points. And Ross, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, maybe about the benefits of buying new. Jimmy just went through that himself, and we can talk to him about that. Just a couple other things. Oh, wanted to give a shout out to Rick, where we just shot his home in the acreage yesterday. It's such a whirlwind; it feels like a week ago. And this is a rare opportunity. Rick has a very unusual piece of land in the acreage, and the fact that it's a log cabin home.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2.5-bath log cabin home. Has a pool, has a detached building where it has an oversized 1-car garage that's being used as a workshop right now. Then it's also got a covered carport, and then it also has a unit over in that detached building that's a 1-1, and it's being rented out right now. The tenants say they'd like to stay, and they've had a perfect payment history. So anybody buying that place would get automatic like $1,600 a month for rent
Yeah.
from the people that are already living there, and they really would like to stay. The house needs a little TLC, but if you love log cabin homes, and there's people out there that just love log cabin homes,
Super cool.
the TLC that you need to do this isn't like overwhelming, right? It's like just freshen it up a little bit. It'll be great. Love this lot. It has an electronic gate in the on the property, and the lot has a lot of natural vegetation. There's still a lot of cabbage palms there and all natural vegetation. So it isn't like they tore it all down and put grass everywhere, like, sod, St. Augustine grass or whatever. It looks more natural. And a lot of little cool features. It has a fireplace. So they got a little log shed outside, like a little old wooden log shed where when you cut your logs, you couldn't stack your lumber there.
Yeah.
Fire logs there. It also has like this other like little work like storage shed that you'd put your lawnmowers and stuff, but he built it very rustic with wood and wood slats, and it kind of looks like an outhouse right in the backyard.
Cool.
And it's got a little I used to have one of these in my house that had one of those big iron school bells where you pull the cord and it goes ding ding ding. I used to have one of those in my old house. He has one of those there. It's like, oh, I used to have one of those.
Nice.
So pretty cool. So if anybody really wants that log cabin country experience, but not being out so far west like Pahokee, Belglade, or something like that,
And it's got a pool.
it's got a pool. Yeah.
Sweet.
So the thing's got everything that you would want, and there's room for expansion if you want to do that. So give me a call. The house will be on the market probably Tuesday of next week. Let me see. Last thing. Oh, I wanted to go over a little bit of the active under contracts. Well, before we do that, before we do that, let's talk about when you're getting up there in age and you're a retiree and you're thinking about buying a new home and selling your home and buying a new home, and some of the benefits of new construction. Okay. Obviously, one of the benefits of new construction that it's new and that you're picking the unit that you want and you pick the finishes and all that stuff.
All new.
But for long-term financial security, there's a lot of ease, I guess, ease of mind, if you will, knowing that if you buy a new construction home, because the insurance company isn't going to be bugging you for probably how many years? Let's say if you had a shingle roof, right? You had 2024 construction.
I mean, at least 15 years.
Yeah, so you got 15 years before
nice
the insurance-
runway.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. Your AC is going to last at least 8 to 10 years for sure, right? Because it's brand new. And if you service it right, it could last much longer.
Sure.
But 10 years is pretty much the average. So you got 10 years on that. Water heater is the same thing, Ross, right? What do you think, 8 to 10 years for a water heater?
I mean, carriers usually have a restriction at 15. Like that's where not everybody does,
Right.
but 15, and then some carriers if it's over 20.
Okay, so that's even better. So if you take care of your water heater, it doesn't rust out on you or lose the elements,
Right.
the heating element. You can keep it for 15 years and not worry about it. Also, you have hurricane protection. No house built today doesn't have enough hurricane protection. You got to have the windows protected, the garage door protected. If you got the little eyebrows in the house, all that got to be protected, right, Ross? When you buy the home in today's market, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar
You're not
with
a contractor,
construction
yeah.
or contractor, but that is usually the case unless there's that is normally the case, that they will get that the windows either are impact or have some sort of shutter. What gets people a lot of the times from not getting that discount is they'll have some decorative glass in their front door.
One of the houses we have has all new impact windows everywhere because they used a PACE loan for that, that energy loan.
Mhm.
They did everything but the front door and the back door, which has glass, regular, and it's window pane glass. It's like the thinnest glass you can have. And there's no covering over it. So what would happen in that for like an insurance policy?
They just don't get the discount.
None of it. They get nothing.
The opening protection discount is an all or nothing discount. So every single window, or we say piece of glass, needs to be rated, or it needs to either be rated or protected by a shutter or something. Like the glass blocks in a bathroom or something. People will get all the impact windows but neglect those, and then they don't get the discount. You got to put a shutter on it.
Yeah, so shutter it up, guys.
Or a
you
skylight.
got to shut it up, right? Skylights
too.
really matter
Like if
too.
you have an old skylight and you put shutters or impact glass throughout the whole house, but you have one old skylight from 1985, you're not going to get the discount.
Okay, so this is I didn't know
about
they actually
this
make hurricane rated skylights.
Yes.
Really? Do they make hurricane rated like those glass blocks?
That I don't know. That happened to my dad. He was able, as part of the My Safe Florida Home program, have somebody, part of his overall project that he did was have somebody put a shutter over those blocks.
Huh.
That he had those in his or either in his kitchen or his bathroom or something, in one of those two spots. But he had to have a shutter put on.
I think they're kind of cool. I don't know how prevalent they are, but they get a lot of light and
they seem like they're pretty strong.
And they do seem strong.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like as thick
it's a
as
glass
the wall.
block.
Right.
It's funny because I had that in my house on the second story when I lived in Wellington, and this house was built like in 2003, so it only had panels. It had accordion shutters upstairs, and then it had panels downstairs, and the upstairs was glass block for the master bathroom, and didn't have shutters for that. So when it was built, they did all the stuff, but they did not do that glass block window. So I'm wondering maybe it was considered hurricane, but how they're built, how those glass blocks are put into that space, I don't really see how it could be hurricane proof.
So one thing too is most carriers, if your house is built after 2002, most carriers are automatically going to give you those credits. So you don't need a wind mitigation report. With I wouldn't say most carriers, a lot of carriers.
Yeah.
And then there's carriers that after 2012, everything, you qualify for everything. So, a lot of the times you don't need a wind mitigation report, so you don't find that out. And even if you do get one and you send it to your agent, he's not going to provide it,
right.
Because it doesn't help you in any way. So,
well, that's all that is like really important to get the credits. And then when you but if you buy new, you really don't have to worry about that too much because it's going to be meeting the most up-to-date codes. And Jimothy, you have a real life example. Would you mind telling us the difference roughly between what you were paying in your old house, which was half the size and much older, compared to what you're paying today for your new home, your brand new construction home, roughly?
Our insurance went up to about, I think it was $3,600 was the last one. We're paying now $2,000 a year, and again double the size. So with everything with new construction, and of course we had some of the same type of benefits where we don't have to worry about the roof, we don't have to worry about the water heater, we don't have to worry about the air conditioning, things like that were very very appealing to new construction versus old. Plus, just when we walked into the model home that the builder had, I mean, we just fell in love with the floor plan and all that aspect as well. And not to mention, I don't know if this is how far back it goes to where nowadays they build up the house, the land that the house is built on. So, I mean, we're, actually 25 feet above sea level versus some other, older homes where they're not built up as high. So we have that extra protection of flooding, local flooding, not the flooding in the house, that I personally enjoy. Even though our road that we live on actually has a tendency of flooding a little bit, I don't think it'll ever come up to the house. I mean, it would have to be astronomical, like, Noah start building an ark type thing, for it to ever be a threat to the house. So all these different things is part of the reason why we went with new. But
your last home had built up a little bit compared to the road too.
Yeah,
I remember
a little bit.
I remember a bad flood. Me and my wife decided to jump out in and go try to turn in our marriage certificate, and that was the year that the whole Port St. Lucie flooded. It was easily.
It was a tropical storm that nobody had any idea was going to bring in that much water. I mean, buses were everywhere. It was like 6 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon. And
that came close to your house.
That was about halfway up the driveway.
Yeah, about halfway,
3/4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. From the old house on our Rosa. And that's why I prefaced that by saying, I don't know when they started to build them up a little bit higher, but I even see some new construction out there, maybe a little bit. They put them up a little bit, but it's not all that high. At least our builder did.
I had a question, Ross. One of the things that we do when we put a house on the market that's kind of unusual. I don't know how many agents, maybe a bunch of agents do it, but I hardly ever see it when I'm a buyer's agent and look at the listing, where we put up quotes from Brightway Insurance from Ross's office on insurance quotes for that particular house. And I was going through one of them yesterday because an agent had asked me a question about it. They weren't in front of their computer. When you see the price, the main price for the policy, and then it shows you underneath the credits that you get, and it gives you a number, what is that number for? Is it mostly just the hurricane panels, or is it other stuff you get credit for besides hurricane protection?
The wind mitigation report is a 7-question multiple choice form.
Mm-hmm.
So depending, it's not so, and the opening protection or hurricane shutter or impact glass, that's just one question. So you've got 6 other questions that are in there that are factoring into that wind mitigation report discount. And each carrier rates it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So, I get it all the time. Like, well, this company, the discount for wind mitigation is $20,000, and this company's only giving me a $5,000. And at the end of the day, what's the premium, right? Because they all calculated what they're going to give you a credit for and how it affects the rate differently. At the end of the day, what's the total premium?
Right.
If the discount on this one is $5,000, but the premium is $2,000, and the discount on this one's $20,000, but the the total premium is $10,000, what does it matter if you're getting a $20,000?
Yeah, exactly. The bottom line is, it can be that big of a variance, though, huh? Company to company, provider to provider.
I mean, premium wise, they're all over the spectrum, but even
discount wise,
it's different. The wind mitigation report, I usually say, if somebody calls me and says, hey, I want to get a quote, and I send them a quote, and I say, hey, because we always quote with what we normally see on the reports. We don't quote with hurricane shutters. We don't get overly aggressive when we're quoting without a report. We quote with what we think it's going to look like. And so we'll send over the quote and say, hey, we need a wind mitigation report. Well, I didn't get one. I'm not going to get one. Okay. Take out those credits, and it's usually double.
Ooh.
So that's usually
that's
about
the quotes that I'm seeing. The credits are almost it would double the policy if you didn't have the credit.
So if the premium is $5,000 and you say, no, I'm not going to get a wind mitigation report, no problem. Here's a quote for 10.
So that pushes everybody right into the wind. I mean, pretty instantly, right?
Yeah,
which makes sense because you're trying to corral the monkeys, if you will, to make sure that everybody is protected as best they can be, because it affects everybody.
Of course,
right? It affects everybody. So people forget about a lot about that stuff. I had another question about this in the insurance stuff, Ross. I have a house that's built in 2007 with an original 2007 roof. It passed wind mitt and everything. But the buyer really took a long time to get an insurance policy. We gave him your quotes. obviously. But they wanted to shop it around to quote get the best deal, and they were from another state where they had State Farm, so they're trying to get State Farm here, and that wasn't happening. They were like, "No, we're not insuring you," and they're like, "But I've been a long time customer," and they're
yeah,
like, "No, we don't care."
Don't care.
So what
We
I'm
don't
wondering,
have a product to offer you.
exactly, right?
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. So a 2007 home, can they have with an original roof? Can they have kind of a lot of choices out there, or are they going to Citizens?
I mean, we're at 17 years shingle roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a few carriers that come
Might
back,
get-
but I'm going to guess that Citizens is probably going to be their best bet,
Yeah.
especially if they get a wind mitigation, because Citizens isn't automatically going to give you the hurricane shutter discount.
Right.
So if you get a wind mitigation report, they're going to probably save at least an extra $1,000 to $1,500.
And I just didn't understand because they took 10 days. They spent 10 days shopping around for insurance policies. And I'm like, what do you need 10 days to shop around insurance policy for? But anyway, I was just wondering about that. Like if they did have, maybe they, I was thinking,
Jim,
maybe they did have a lot
not
of
everybody
choices.
responds as quickly as Ross and his team.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's like he responds as you're down the phone. He already gives you the answer.
Yeah,
he doesn't, he
doesn't
he's
happen
magic.
like that. Yeah, I've been to many places. You're like, come on, you are not that busy. You
Yeah,
gotta be
like
kidding me.
you know, it's good that we're fast and we're very responsive.
Mhm.
But like if I get an email in the morning and it's something that like I kind of have to spend a little time to look at and delve into it, like 4 hours later somebody be like, hey man, did you get my email?
Mhm.
Like because I hadn't
I know,
responded in
right.
like
I
5
know.
minutes.
It's like
You've
really,
conditioned
just
them,
wanted
you've
them-
trained
yeah.
them to think like you have to respond immediately.
I do the same thing, Ross. So if I feel like
Yeah.
it's really complicated, I tell them, look, you got to give me a day or two to figure this out because, I got to block out a couple hours just to sit there and just do that and not be pulled off onto different tasks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I
like, you
usually
gotta
try to
give me a little
get to
time.
it by the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're at least by the day ends, everything's done. Okay, now I can kind of get into it. But
yeah,
That's funny. You almost ruined it for a lot of people.
Yeah. I sent Ross an email. I didn't get a response in 2 hours, so I said, "Oh, I must be off today."
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, or like a 10-minute later phone call. Hey, just want to make sure you got my email.
Did you get my email?
Yeah.
I did. Yes.
I did.
Damn.
I
Those,
know,
are the
right?
those are the kind of people that if you don't respond to a text immediately too, they'll be like,
Yeah, really.
Exactly.
No, they get mad.
Yeah,
you know?
goes to me.
Jeez. Yeah, what are you ghosting me?
I also want to talk just a little bit before we take the break, just a little bit about some of my active under contracts. So what that means is these are properties that just are under contract right now, but we keep them active because we're looking for backup offers while we're trying to close in case something crazy happens. But I have about 5 or 6 right now that are pending that are going to be closing next month. But I wanted to go over like days on market and what happened with these properties because I find that to be interesting of real life examples of how the market has changed, from cycle to cycle.
Okay.
So I have this one property that is in Port St. Lucie that we went under contract. We've gone through the inspection. We're now on the appraisal phase. We're not too worried about that because of the price we took. And part of the reason why we're not too worried about it, meaning us and the sellers, is because the house was on the market 207 days, which is probably a record for me in the last couple of years for sure. And this has been the greatest couple I've worked with, really nice couple and very patient. But we started that property right before the interest rates in May jumped like crazy. And we've taken almost a 20% price drop off of the original list price, which is never happened to me in a very, 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 very long time.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah, and it's because the market had changed. Now,
Right.
if I had taken that property instead of April, May, and I took it August, September, I would have totally changed the pricing on the house. So in April, May, the property, the sales were still pretty strong. Inventory was lower, and the sales were brisker, and you were getting full list price, maybe even a little bit more. So I was pushing the limits because this is probably going to be the last sale or second to last sale for the family. So this is their big paycheck, if you will. So we were pushing it, and then the market shifted on us. And then we started chasing the market. And we got an offer that's going to work for the family, and they're satisfied and everything. But we went through heck and back in order to do that. Now, then we had another property that we put on in November. And this is our Palm Beach Gardens property that I call the Brady Bunch house. And I thought that house was going to go in November, December for sure, because it was a great area. Walked to 3 high-rated schools. They got a park across the street. They got a pool in the backyard. You got a place to put your boat and RV if you want in the backyard, right? They just had
Checking all the boxes, yeah.
And it was recently updated, 2019 roof, newer AC, but there were some downsides with the house, and that was a smaller kitchen, and there was really no master or main. Can't say master anymore. I got to say main. No main bedroom suite.
It's my
Right?
master
I know,
bedroom.
right? So they didn't really have that. So those were the downsides, but it was still a really great house. And this house took us 63 days to sell it. We did have one price drop in that time, and the price drop, as soon as we dropped the price, we dropped it probably 6 or 7%. But once we do that, we had like 5 showings and an offer within 72 hours. So it just shows you how much price really matters. You're off by 6%, nobody comes, or if they come and they don't turn an offer,
Right.
and you adjust the price, and then boom, you get a lot of showings. So now we're in a little bit of a stronger market. We've been in a stronger market since basically Christmas. For me, it seemed like a light switch turned on Christmas Eve.
When you say stronger, you
Mhm.
mean stronger response to the listing?
Yes, more buyers out there, because the reason why the market's been so slow, Johnny, thank you for asking that, is that the buyers just weren't out there, and the sellers have been experienced for a very long time. Low inventory, they had the power, they were going to do what they kind of wanted in the market, and then when the interest rates went high last May, the buyers just started trickling out till really, really came down to nothing. And to be honest with you, in this market down here, I've seen a lot of layoffs at companies I've never seen before. Title companies laying off people, mortgage companies laying off people, service industry that services realtors, like transaction coordination people that you hire outsourced to work your deals and stuff like that. A lot of layoffs happening at that time because everything was so slow. Then it seemed like Christmas Eve is when everything kind of turned on again. Now it's not super fast. We're not in a super strong market, but we're in a steady, and it's only been a month, right? But we've been in a steady buyers coming in. I picked up 4 buyers in the last 2 weeks, right? 3 of them are first time home buyers. 1 are selling their house, going to be buying something else.
You think it's finally like an understanding of like, okay, this is probably where we're at. Like the anticipation of, oh, the rates are going to come down. It's like, no, clown, they're not. They shouldn't. Get in now.
They're not even talking about the rates anymore when
Good.
you sit down with the buyers. What they're doing is it's
all
a
about
life
what your
choice.
mortgage payment is.
Yeah, and it's about their life choice. It's like, I got to buy a house, right?
Like Ross mentioned earlier. What's the premium? Your savings, that's great. That's a fun number. What's your nut? The interest rate is important aspect here, but what is it going to cost you every month to own that home?
Even the way we speak on the show, it seemed like there for a good 6+ months where every week it was interest rate. What is the Fed doing? What is that going to be? What are they anticipating coming up? And then for the past, I don't know, handful of weeks, at least a month, if not more, hasn't even really come up all that much.
And the funny part is,
especially the speculation. Sorry, Jim.
The speculation is true, but the funny part is the interest rates went up 5 of the last 7 weeks. Right. So like everybody was so focused on it for so long. And then we had this 5-week jump. Nobody was really talking about it or anything, like as far as consumers, right? The consumers, and that's okay with me because we've been talking about this. It isn't about the interest rate. It's about your mortgage payment. And do you like the house or the property you're going to buy? And can you afford
for you
it?
and your family?
Yeah, exactly.
So so now that the market's changed a little bit, I changed the way I was selling my houses. So let me show you the difference in results once I understood what was going on. So I had a guy, and we've talked about this before, Roberto and Yanelli, and they were putting their house on the market in Port St. Lucie on that Zoom road that also had all the other Keller Williams agents selling the properties at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at it. I sold that house in 12 days. and we're within 3% of the 3 houses that are on the market over 100, right? So we priced it right, we advertised it right, and we got a serious buyer in 12 days. That house is
So you took advantage of their pain a little bit. I don't want to take advantage sounds like nefarious, but you learned from their pain.
That's a good way to say it, right?
And set your buyer or seller up for victory based on the pain that has already been felt by other Keller Williams listing agents.
And the other thing is, and I'm not trying to pick on Keller Williams, of course not.
It could have been any agent. The agents that were listing those homes are going through pain, and you learn from their pain without even being in it, and then set your seller up for victory.
And here's a big seller mistake. It's like, well, my neighbor next door is, has it on the market for this. And I go, yeah, and it's been on the market 120 days.
You want to see it?
And some of them are like, well, I don't want to take less than what they're taking. So they go into the pain. They jump into the pain with the people. Yeah, right. Hey, let's go together, right? But these people were sharper than that, and their house was sold in 12 days and inspected, it appraised.
They had a little urgency too. They were like, look, we got to go too. I'm not sitting around for 100 days.
Right. They told me, Jim, sell the house.
Right.
So we sold it at fair market value, and we got them to where they want to go. And we did it in 12 days. Now here's another one.
And they're stoked, by the way.
Yeah, very happy.
Yes.
Very, very happy. We had another Port St. Lucie property. We put it under contract in 39 days according to the MLS, but that's not really true because this is the house that didn't appraise. So we had a house that we put on the market, and then we had a bad appraisal. And yes, I'm saying it's a bad appraisal. Still don't agree with that appraisal. We fought it. We lost. I'm going to keep an eye out for that appraiser when I deal with them in the future because I know I'm going to have a problem with them.
Oh, I thought you meant like on the street.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We're gonna, definitely not like
we're
that.
We're going to appraise his face. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah. You ever met my right elbow before?
You guys are funny. That's funny. You took it that way. No, I would not do that, but I would know. I would keep my radar out if he came out again. But what happened with them, it wasn't really 39 days. It was probably 12 days to 14 days because we put it under contract in about 14 days or so. Then it took us a while to find out the house didn't appraise. Then we had to fight it. Then we had to put the house back on the market. So I sold it twice in 39 days. Let's put it that way. So even if you take that in half, that's what, 18, 19 days. And I sold them, each time I sold them about 18 days. Why? We priced it right. We talked about the ranges of the prices. We probably would have got the appraisal closer to where we wanted to be, but what we did on that one, and I'm going to be way more careful about this now. I'm not using real numbers. Let's say that we had the house on the market for 500, and then the sellers come in and they offer us 500, but they want 15,000 back to pay for their closing costs. So what my seller did was raise their price to 515. And then said, I'll give you 15 back. So I get to get my 5 and you get to get the 15 you want. We're all happy campers.
Everybody's happy.
And then the house didn't appraise. And one of the reasons why the appraiser said they didn't think our house appraised was they saw that we did that. Because you can see on the MLS that they see that we rose the price from the above listing price and then took the money back. Now you could do that.
Sure.
Happens all the time.
Sure.
And get it through.
What does that have to do with the appraisal?
This guy was kind of one of those people that he's been doing it 30 years. He didn't even want to take my list of upgrades when I met with him. I'm like, hey, can I give you my list of upgrades? No. Oh. And then I knew I had a problem.
So right? Open-minded.
Yeah. So I said, he goes, no, I've been doing this for 30 years. I know everything about this neighborhood.
Oh, boy.
Right. And then I had to be very careful because you don't want to get the guy angry. And I'm like, well, look, there's a lot of repairs that have been done to this house in the last 3 months that aren't visible, like brand new ductwork in the attic and a brand new AC, which you'd probably catch that, but things that he wouldn't even seen. There was a lot of electrical work done that he wouldn't have known, right? So he reluctantly, not wanting to, took my list of upgrades. And then I said, can I give you some comps? No way, right? He's like, I'll do the comps themselves. And then he went 5 miles out of where the neighborhood was to find comps when there were very good comps within 1 mile of that house. I really feel he really put it to us. So when I disputed the appraisal, the last note he put in you have to understand that you can't just raise your price and then ask for money back and think that's going to be okay. That's basically what he said. So he didn't like the way we structured the deal, and it
doesn't matter.
I know,
Yeah,
but
like
he's using his power.
but what happened with that case though is that we priced it right. So then the second time,
put his name.
I know.
Do it.
And then what I did was when we had to put it back on the market, we set the price to the exact same price we had it on the market the first time. And we got the buyer again in 12 days or whatever. And we worked that out and everything's good. And we're closing next Friday. So all that worked out well. And it only took us about 18 days to get the second buyer, right?
Nice.
Then the last one is a property that was a really, really bad fixer-upper. Really bad fixer-upper. And so we put it on the market and we took a buyer in 9 days. That one, even though that it was in poor condition, when we put it out, we had something like 25 showings in 4 days, 5 days. So it was one of those properties because it was so cheap and tons of investors were turning in offers. So we had a bidding war and the price came up and we got the deal done in 9 days. And we've been waiting for probate to finish. It's taken like 3 months to close because of probate. But because we did the pricing right, it really made a difference of whether you're going to sell your house in a reasonable amount of time, 60 days or less, or, you sit on the market for a while. And I don't want to say that the people that had the 207 days on market, that they priced it wrong. They were basing it on my opinion, and I'll take responsibility for that because at the time I could justify that house would appraise what we put it on the market for. But then the market changed on us and then we had to reconfigure.
Right.
So just know that in today's market, you can still get faster sales, but you got to price it right based on your condition, your size, and what other people are paying in the neighborhood. Not what you want to get, what other people are willing to pay for a house just like yours in that neighborhood. And if you do that, you probably won't go through as much pain.
Yep.
I was hoping that we could take a break, Johnny, and on the flip side, we're going to talk a little bit about creepy critters because I love talking about creepy critters, and I've been promising.
Excellent.
So we're going to talk about two new creepy critters that are coming to Florida. Love this stuff, and then we're going to talk about blind offers. What the heck is a blind offer, and should you take them?
Very good. We got a lot to get into. Plenty of time remaining. After a 4-minute quick break, here's a good opportunity for you to jump on the phone lines right now if you'd like to get involved with the program on this Saturday, February 1st, 877-927-6969. Timothy O'Line, yep. We'll get right to your phone call if you happen to be there. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, believe me, I understand. Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. It's floridatalkrealestate.com. Access to the entire team. These are pros, experts in their field, and they work cohesively together to get done what you're trying to get done the right way. I'm talking about buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do. Anything that touches the world of real estate. If you're having an issue, we got a professional for you and so much more. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, Facebook, YouTube, lots of information to consume. Please share that information. You never know. You could change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We are expecting warm conditions through the rest of the day today, above average humidity for the early parts of February, and we will continue to see beautiful sunny skies through much of the rest of this weekend. We will see above average temperatures persist into next week as well.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Tap into your well-being with Audible audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Expand your life with expert insight and motivation for better health, habits, relationships, finance, and more. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate.
They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DiPaola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, that's it. 877-927-6969. Toll free into the studio. If you dial that up, Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire, he'll get you going there. Phone line's working this morning?
Absolutely.
All right, good.
We'll just double check. Why not? Doesn't hurt.
That's good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, there we go.
Looks good to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're more than welcome to join us. We got an hour and 10 minutes remaining before we pass the baton to the locker room at 11. Greek and is Joe? I'm assuming.
Joe, yeah.
I haven't seen Joe in, I feel like,
Yeah, he hasn't been here a
at
little bit.
least 6 months or something like that.
It does feel like we haven't seen either of them.
Gosh,
Really.
you're right.
Just the way the scheduling
the scheduling works.
changed out.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Always a pleasure, Jimothy.
Always a pleasure to see you as well, Johnny. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm your buddy, your pal, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Ross Komarinetz is with us on this Saturday. He's with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Always great to have you with us on Saturday.
You too,
Ross.
man. Warming up a little bit.
Me too.
Little
Yeah.
bit. I could feel my voice cracking a little when I was talking earlier.
I
Like,
got a little Zen in the lip right now, though, and that always makes things better.
Yeah.
You get down the Zen path ever?
not Zins, but a different,
Similar.
Similar.
Same but different. Oh,
same but different.
Lucy.
Yeah.
You're
Those are nicotine without the tobacco, right?
They are, yeah.
I
So
just
it's like
read about that last
food
night.
grade with nicotine.
Yeah.
So nicotine's addictive, but it's a stimulant. It's not necessarily. It's not what kills you.
It's not bad for it.
Right. It's not what kills you if
Right.
you're doing tobacco products. That's
Right.
not what gets you.
Right.
It is addictive, but it's an amazing stimulant, and I don't know, keeps me sane.
Yeah. Do you want to spit all the time like chew?
I'm a
No.
swallower, Jim. I'm what you call a keeper.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Hurry up, guys.
And speaking of this, I forgot to talk about this. I'm sorry.
Let me introduce
I'm
that
sorry.
tone right there. That's Jimmy D, our fearless leader. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team. That's Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Jim DiPaola.
Thanks, man. I forgot to ask you at the top of the show, how did the manatee thing go last week?
We didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't go.
No, and the wifey was a little bummed too. She totally wanted to.
Yeah.
And they had a nice gathering. They have they have the cam. We're talking about the Manatee Center there in Riviera in the Raw. They had the cam out that was loaded with manatees. The timing just didn't come together for us.
I wish I could have went out that day. I was so busy. That was pretty cool. But let me see. So I wanted to go, speaking of critters, right? Speaking of manatees, that's a good way to go into it. I wanted to talk about some creepy critters. Remember I told you I read a story about a creepy critter and I had a nightmare about it, and we were going to talk about it on the show and I didn't.
And we didn't, right?
Yeah. So I had this nightmare, this creepy critter I'm going to talk about. Now, after I tell you about this creepy critter, it's going to creep you out about my nightmare. I was eating a sandwich and I bit into it, and this creepy critter, which was live and wiggling, was in the sandwich.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, and I actually woke up from the dream, which I never do.
So it ruined sandwiches, like it ruined sleep.
And for like 3 days, I had like that surprise feeling that you ate this thing. It was so weird. It was the weirdest thing. So one of the new creepy critters that's coming out to Florida swamps and everything is the Asian swamp eel. Have you heard about this? The Asian swamp eel?
No.
They're saying, move over, pythons. The Asian swamp eel is coming in.
Deer?
No, it isn't that big, but there's another one we're going to talk about that is, okay, because that's the second creepy critter. The Asian swamp eel has been in Florida since 1997, and it started a course in Tampa and Miami, and it's probably because it got shipped in on shipping containers or whatever and stuff like that, and or came along on boats like as unexpected guests on the boats. But they started finding out these Asian swamp eels in 1997, and now they really feel like it's going to start taking over the Everglades and other swampy areas. And let me tell you, there isn't almost any kind of water that it doesn't live in. It prefers muddy, stagnant water is what it prefers. So that's like all our canals.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Right? It's like every canal that you got, right? So
it's an air-breathing fish.
It's an air-breathing fish, and they can be in as little as like 2 inches of water, and they could live forever in that. They don't need a lot of water. They live in lakes, streams, canals, swamps. I didn't know you can eat them. I didn't know that.
You can, but
so
I know I can't because I already tried it and I was disgusted by it.
Not good in a sandwich. I guess in East and Southeast Asia, commonly sold and eaten throughout the region.
What don't they eat?
Yeah,
I was going to say the same thing, and I know that's not a good thing to say, but I don't care.
Probably a shorter list.
No,
also known as the rice field eel or the rice eel.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And they're supposedly taking over, and they what do they eat? I forgot what they eat. Hold on here 1 second. I'm looking here. They let me see. They're nocturnal. That's
babies.
Another thing that's interesting. Is they're nocturnal, so you don't see them out in the day. And what do they eat? Here it goes. Swamp eels are predators feeding on animals such as worms, insect, shrimp, crayfish, other fishes, and frogs. So that's what they eat. So we'll see what happens with that one. They look really, really slimy, and that's what I remember in my dream is that when I bit into it, it was wiggling and was slimy, and they look really, really slimy. They also don't look like they'd be very good eaten. Have you seen the pictures of them, Johnny? You're looking at them right now?
They don't really like
they look
they don't-
wormy.
They don't change like the appearance a whole lot in at least some of the food preparation I've looked at. Like I think I would prefer to like not know I'm
You eat
eating
it like a
meal.
noodle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what they're
Exactly.
doing?
Just slurp that thing down. Nah, no thanks. It is an important protein source for people in Thailand and cultured throughout Vietnam, and the list goes on.
that's pretty wild.
If I don't have to, I'm not going to voluntarily eat this thing. If
Yes,
I have
I
to, I
agree.
might.
It
At least
might
I
be-
know it's edible.
It might be the most amazing protein supply ever, and we will never know.
No, I won't know.
No, I probably
that's-
won't ever either.
and that's fine with me.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
fine with me.
I'll have a protein shake and a steak, and
that works.
yeah,
So and the new, besides that creepy critter, there's another one that's coming out that's actually much bigger and badder.
So look, just real quick
Oh,
on
I'm
this.
sorry.
So there's no real predator for this thing. Like things don't. It's not on.
It doesn't
the menu
say
for
what
a whole
other
lot?
people eat. No, it doesn't say
What other critters?
what
eat
other
these things?
people. What other
Maybe we need to
critters
start
are
eating
eating.
them then.
Yeah, I guess we're
Yeah.
their number one predator
Huh.
if we go that way. The other creepy critter that's going out into the Everglades right now is supposedly making the Burmese pythons look like worms, because anacondas are starting to come into
What?
the Everglades. Anacondas are now in
How have
the
I not
Everglades
read
right
about
now.
that?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to try and go on one of those hunts. And,
Are ya?
Yeah,
That's
and
so
it's just
cool.
a revenge hunt. Like it's just I'm mad at them. You know, they shouldn't be there.
I'll
Get out
take it
of
in my own
space.
hands. So these things can get to 29 feet long and 550 pounds, which is much bigger than the Burmese pythons. And they basically eat anything. They can eat, Johnny was saying deer. They can eat deer, other pythons. They can eat alligators. They can swallow alligators whole.
Humans.
Yep, humans. So
My anaconda don't want no.
frankly, frankly, I was thinking that if you were on one of those small fishing boats without a motor or whatever, or like a small motor, like one of those bass fishing boats, but small, these things are going to be bigger than your fishing boat, and they could probably wrap around the whole boat, you know, and turn it over or something. It's going to be pretty crazy.
They're massive.
Yeah, they're pretty big. So they're really from South America and the Caribbean island. So they're not that far away from us usually. But unlike the Burmese python, they spend the majority of their time in the water. So the Burmese pythons, they'll go in the water, out of the water. These things stay in the water almost all the time. And all you'll see is their heads, their eyes sticking up on the water. And what they're waiting for is like the big prey. But if they don't have any food that they can get for big prey, they'll grab a bird trying to put in a nest or whatever they can grab. If they have to get a turtle or something, that's what they'll do. But they're really looking for the bigger prey. And they eat about once every 4 weeks, as long as they get enough food. And they can be 12 inches in diameter.
Wow.
And I guess the biggest of these anacondas, the 29 feet, 550 pound, they're the females. And they can be almost 5 times larger than the males. The mature 5 times. So the mature males might only get to, I guess, 100 pounds, right? But they're in the Everglades. They've already been discovered in there, and there's a couple of different type of anacondas. There's a brown one,
I know the green
and a
is
muted,
kinda-
a black one, and a muted yellow, and a different one. I can't remember the other one. So they have the yellow anaconda, and I think the brown anaconda is something out there.
I think the
right now.
green anaconda is the biggest species in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah. So at least we don't have the bigs.
Yeah,
That's
And-
just
Yeah.
big.
They're big
What,
enough.
it gets another 6 inches? Okay, so it's the biggest. All right.
Hey, 6
It's-
inches is a lot.
Damn right it
You're
is.
telling me.
and the other difference is the Burmese pythons, they have eggs, they lay eggs, and the anacondas just birth live anacondas, no eggs,
Really?
and as many as 40
Wouldn't that
per
make it a
birth.
mammal?
It would.
I know, isn't that wild? Because I never heard of snakes not having
Yeah.
not being born out
Well, I
of
guess
eggs.
mammals also have to have milk, right?
I don't know.
You've never had snake milk?
Ooh.
It's the new thing. It's delicious.
Well,
Yeah, it's way better than
did I
white
tell you about my
oat
sins?
milk.
But each birth they'll lay up to 40 babies, and they can do it twice a year. So just more stuff to keep eye out for out there,
good.
And they think the anacondas came the way most of them did, which is pet owners, exotic pet owners that have them, and then they get too big and they're still in love with their pets, so they don't want to kill it, so they put it out into the wild.
Yep.
Thank you,
That's
reptile
awesome.
owners.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
That's good.
Thank you for doing that.
Wait till we get the Komodo dragons out there, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's good right
I
there.
know. I'm waiting for Godzilla.
Oh, Zura.
Godzilla. What was the other one that Godzilla always fought?
Do
Do you guys remember?
Kong?
Mothman? Kong?
No, no. Oh, no. Maybe Mothman, but there was another one that had a weird name, like Godzilla.
Oh, like Zilla?
Yeah,
Well, they had the like robotic Godzilla, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking more like it's Godzilla's enemy, but it had another like Japanese
Oh,
name.
what's the one
I
with the
can't remember.
multiple heads?
Yeah.
That one's the. Apologize for my lack of knowledge in the Zilla world.
Wanted to talk.
Disappointed in myself.
Oh, sorry. There's a little story that came out in the World Atlas where they ranked the 10 safest towns in Florida for senior living. And one of them is actually in Palm Beach County. So I wanted to talk about that.
Safest.
Yeah, they say it's the safest. And what they say is, I'm trying to just see, I don't think they said, they didn't really, they're using it as the crime rate. So what they're doing is, and I've seen a lot of TikTok-y videos on this lately where people drive around small towns and they tell you what the crime rate is per 1,000 people. And that's how they decide if it's a safe city or not.
Okay.
So this one, not necessarily a ranking, but the cities, before we get to North Palm, Longboat Key, these are safe Florida cities to live in as a senior. Inglewood, Sanibel, Estero, Estero, Marco Island, St. Augustine Beach, yay, I love St. Augustine, Safety Harbor, Key Largo, and
It's
Gulf
implied.
Breeze. I don't know about Gulf Breeze because you got to worry about those aliens out there, but and then North Palm Beach. The only one that's local to us in Palm Beach, Broward, or Dade, or St. Lucie is North Palm Beach. So I lived in North Palm Beach for a little while. It's a pretty cool town. Ross, you live nearby there. You like North Palm, right?
Technically, the address is for my city is North Palm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So, and you always love that area of the county, right?
Yeah.
I do too. That area of the county, the northern part of county, I know.
No, it's terrible. I hate it.
It's terrible.
I wish I could move.
The traffic's atrocious.
Just stuck with a house.
Now
Sorry,
you're
Ross.
making me
Sorry.
feel bad. Like I don't want to say anything because you're kind of right. You're kind of right about what you're saying. But it really is different than it's different than West Palm. It's different than, let's say, Boynton, central Palm Beach County. It's different than Boca, South Palm Beach County. The northern part of the county is really different. Not saying it's going to stay different, but it's different and it's really nice. And I really enjoy it. And I haven't, I've been in Palm Beach County since '87, and I didn't move up to North Palm area, North Palm and north because I'm in Jupiter now, but north of West Palm,
North of North Lake.
Yeah, north of North. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. North of North Lake. I've only been doing that for about 3 years, and it's really a different experience and just really cool up there. So what they love about North Palm is that it's close to everything because they're saying that Fort Lauderdale's an hour drive, Miami's close by. They talk about the North Palm Beach Country Club, which is like its own little experience in its own. Anybody in the city can join the country club because it's public. North Palm is one of those small, it feels like a small town. A lot of people just ride their golf carts all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's weird because it's not like the villages where it's designed for golf course riding. People just decided they're going to ride the golf carts everywhere, right? Even with the busy roads and everything, you'll still see them bebopping around and stuff. That North Palm Beach Country Club, I hear, is like it has a Jack Nicklaus
It's an awesome golf course.
Yeah.
It's an awesome. It's on the water. It's really nice.
They also point out Phil Foster Park, which has underwater snorkeling trail. I never knew that. Underwater snorkeling trail?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I have to check that
Wouldn't
out.
that be diving, scuba diving?
Well, I mean, it's in like
Shallow
10 feet
water.
of water.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
shallow.
Yeah, 10 feet of water. So you can just swim out and put on your goggles or just put on, you don't need, you don't need to get up.
Yeah. And they have about 10, did I get this right? I don't want the police chief calling me up. They also have some of the best hospitals in the area. But they said the median age of people in North Palm Beach is 56. People 16 or above are 33%. And is North Palm Beach safe? They said the property crime rate is about 10 per 1,000 residents, 10 crimes per 1,000. That's not too bad.
They're all financial crimes.
Yeah, it's so true. No, it's funny. I just got a ticket over there. Oh, by the way, Ross, I didn't pay that ticket, and last Friday, in a panic, I was like, I'm sure I'm suspended now. So I went into a ticket clinic place, and they're like, if you don't pay a $23 fine right now, your license is going to be suspended Monday. And so it was $328, and I had to race over to the courthouse and pay $23, and I'm going to fight it. And then I guess I'm just going to pay the fine and not have any points, most probably, because I haven't had a ticket in over 10 years. So I'm sure that's what the judge is probably going to do.
Nice.
But I almost lost my license because I'm such a lazy person about going out.
And
there
we
to
talked
deal
about
with
it like
I know.
a month ago.
I know, but I had to have the pressure of not doing it in order to do it. You know,
And
I
can't miss the signs. They're everywhere.
It's so bad. And I drive the one on North Lake. There's a ticket clinic on North Lake. I drive by it all the time, and I've always been so busy. Oh, I need to stop. I don't have time. And there's like, I know
They
my
even
license.
have a sign that says, if you text us a picture of the ticket.
It's true. It's true. That's true. So
Make it as easy as possible. Huh?
Yeah.
So I got out of it and I got a date set, but I haven't gone to the ticket clinic back to give them the information because I already set a court date and I didn't even give them the stuff. So I got to do that next week. But yeah, North Palm, really nice area up there. Voted one of the safest towns for living in Florida for seniors. I kind of agree with that. I feel like it's a pretty safe town out there.
Back in the day at the North Palm Country Club with the pool, they used to have the 10-meter diving board.
Oh, I love that. I used to dive
Yeah.
up that when I was a kid in New York.
And then they took it down when they redid the pool. But
That's too bad.
yeah.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
It's probably an insurance thing. Huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You can't do
Definitely
anything fun
insurance
anymore.
thing.
I
man,
know,
you
right? That's too bad. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just for the I guess we're just going to talk about this briefly today because we do talk about it every week. So I just wanted to tell you the 30-year. Oh, the Fed Reserve had their meeting, their most recent meeting, and they decided not to cut the Fed rate. They also said that they're probably not going to be cutting the Fed rate anytime soon. They're worried that inflation is going to it isn't totally tamped down yet. And they feel that cutting the rate is going to spur inflation. They're also concerned, all the articles are saying this, so this isn't political, I'm just reporting what the economists are saying, but they're very concerned about this talk about tariffs and how the tariffs are probably, it's probably going to create a tariff war and everything's going to get expensive for everybody, not just the United States, but everybody's going to be paying more money.
Well, except for all our
everything.
amazing American-made products, they'll be more competitive.
Not necessarily, Johnny.
That's
Okay.
pure
I was
sarcasm.
going to say, okay, because when you have less competition, why would the American companies want to drop their price?
Pure sarcasm.
So, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't. So I'm very concerned about this too, just to see what's going to happen. There's a reason why we haven't had a bidding war, a tariff war in 50 years. Okay, there's a reason for that. It's because they didn't work.
Right.
So I hope they can work. They can be used as a tool to get certain governments or certain companies to do things that they weren't going to do on their own. But usually you have to have a plan of having the tariffs last for a certain amount of time and then squeeze them and then
But tariffs
change it.
Tariffs are paid when it comes off the boat at the dock.
Right. And the
Right?
company that's getting the
paid-
product is paying
That's
that.
right. And then
right.
it's passed on to the consumer.
That's right.
Who does it really hurt ever besides the consumer?
Well, it hurts the consumer, but from reading about tariff wars in the past, what happens is it does hurt the companies that are being tariffed, right? Because then they're
If
going
their
to buy
sales drop.
less
Right.
because they're going to buy less stuff
Right.
because it's more expensive for the for the company that's buying the thing to sell here, right? So it is passed on, but there are uses for tariffs. Tariffs can be a tool, right? So I'm just trying to be fair to everybody, right? Because it isn't black and white. There's
example,
gray.
'cause I struggle, and I try to read. I struggle to find benefits of tariffs.
Okay, so let's say that I'm just making up. Let's say there's one particular let's say there's a widget, and widgets are really important to your country, and the widget companies decided that it's cheaper to go to Vietnam to make the widget, right?
Shocker.
So you don't want to lose that company because it's part of your national security, because let's say this widget is like a computer chip, right? Like the silicon chips we need.
Sure.
Right? You don't want that going to another country necessarily.
Well, that's why we got the CHIPS Act.
So right,
Right.
that's true. Well, Taiwan's a big problem right now. So what happens is the CHIPS Act, you're right, true, where we're trying to bring them back. Is that what you're saying?
The CHIPS Act
totally
is
for
huge.
that.
Yeah.
But
Biden won't get credit.
one
for
of the
it,
things that you could do is you could use those tariffs to try to make it not as desirable for that company to go to Vietnam, right? So then they might say, you know what, going over there is going to save us money, but with the tariffs, I'm not going to be saving any money, so I might as well just stay here.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying, and then use this tool, and then if they stay, you kind of back off on the tariffs, right? So the tariffs shouldn't be out there forever and ever. They should be used and then taken away. But what happened is once you start with the tariffs, it becomes a tit for tat, is what happened historically.
Of course.
So if you're going to tariff me, then I'm going to tariff you,
Yeah,
and blah, blah, blah.
Especially in this climate.
Yeah, and
Oh,
we've already experienced that in Iowa, for example, the farming states, when we had the tariffs put on China back 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. What happened was, and people didn't really understand this, is they stopped buying, when we tariffed them for other things, they stopped buying our soybean and corn, and I think pig bellies. And China was the number one buyer for all that stuff for the Midwest.
So then we subsidized.
So what we did is we bailed them out by giving them hundreds of millions of dollars
Tax
to make
dollars.
up the money, and they still didn't make them whole. They were still hurting, right? So the people that got hurt were the farmers, basically, and China did a tit for tat for us, and that's what the big concern is. Once you get it going, how do you get it to stop? Because there's so many moving parts. It isn't like you can turn a light switch on and off on that.
Right. And
So
we're
you
such
just have to be
we're such a consuming nation that we can get really brutalized by a tariff war.
But we haven't really seen this in a very long time. I don't want to make any projections. There's a lot of people predicting doom and gloom. We'll just have to see what happens.
That's it.
But you have to be careful about this stuff, and it's not like child's game, and it's not as simple as, oh, tariffs, and then you just go that way. There's a lot to consider about it. We'll see how it works out in the long run. So the Fed is saying, no way, we're not cutting the rates. This is going to turn into a big fight because the new administration wants the rates to be dropped.
Of course.
What I don't get is why everybody's arguing about this. Because what happened when the Fed cut the rate 4 times last year with the interest rates? Nothing.
Oh, they came down to 2?
They went up.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. They
came
went
down
up.
to 2.
So all this fight about how the Fed reserve rate, because when people talk about the Fed reserve rate, what they're really talking about, regular people, is how is that affecting my credit cards? How's that affecting my mortgage rate? How's that affecting my car loan?
Right.
Right. And the Fed reserve has not been connected with what's happening in the mortgage rates for about 6 months now. So it's not even a guarantee that if the Fed did cut the rate, that we would have any effect on our normal interest rate things that we're using every day, cars, houses, credit cards. It might not even change if they did cut the rate. So arguing about this cutting the rate thing, to me, is kind of tilting windmills and just navel gazing, if you will, and not really serious talk about what's happening. Cutting the rate just because you want to, quote, cut the rate, that doesn't mean your interest rates are going to get better. We've already proven that last year, and we proved it in 2018 when they started cutting the rates, and the interest rates went up in 2018. This was not a one-off last year. It's happened before. So what we should be worried about is that inflation. They've been hyper. How long have we been talking about the inflation, guys? What was it, 18 months, 2 years, where we started at 9, and then it went down to basically a little under 3.
Yep.
That's how I'm going to
2
say it.
something.
Yeah. So getting there took us 18 months, and people really complained about how high costs were until we got to that level, and they're still complaining it's high. So if we start going in the other direction, that's not going to be a good thing. So we don't want the economy to overheat. And so we just have to be really careful of this. But the Fed is saying we're not expecting to drop the rates anytime soon for the Fed rate. So keep an eye out on that. The Freddie Mac report was actually a little good news this week for the second week in a row. We had I think it was a drop. So we had 5 increases. We had 5 increases in the interest rate since the Fed cut the rate on September 6th. September 6th was the low. Okay. And then, we basically went flat. We were at, let me see here. We were at 696 the week before, and we're at 695 now. So we were flat. But that's basically 3 weeks in a row. Let's see. We were at 704 was the high for the year, and that was January 16th. Right, I know I've only been around for three weeks, but 704 was the high. Then we went down to 696, and now we're at 695. So it's 2 weeks of either flat or down. We had 5 weeks of going up. It's going to be a choppy market this year. It's going to be going up and down, up and down. We're probably going to see that with the stock market. It was funny. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who was looking at his. I was at a Dunkin' Donuts. He was looking at his computer. I knew him. I was like, "Hey, Gary." And I go, "What you doing?" He goes, "I'm looking at the stock market." He goes, "We're doing pretty good right now today." And I go, "Oh, yeah?" And he goes, "Yeah, we're up 100, pretty much up 100. So at least we're moving up." And then when I went home later that day, I heard that there was a big drop. I haven't looked because of that announcement about the tariffs that I guess they're going into effect today. I think there's a 25% tariff increase in Canada, Mexico, and 10% in China that went into effect today. So supposedly the stock market dropped. I didn't look, so if I'm wrong about that, correct me.
Yeah, and that kind of fractures the agreement with Canada, U.S., and Mexico on that trade agreement. So I can see the market speculating poorly on that.
Mexico and Canada are 35% of all the stuff we make, they buy.
Yeah, we
35%.
We should be really friendly with our neighbors, but it's a weird environment right now.
Yeah, it's a very weird environment. I think it'll smooth out in the long run.
Yeah.
I think some of this will probably be bluster, and then it turns into nothing, but it might not be.
You never know.
So we never know. We're just gonna have to see. Just got to hope that the country's gonna do well this year. Okay, so interest rates kind of flat this week. We don't want to talk about that too much. They're probably going to stay in the 6 and 7s, is what all the national economists are expecting. Nobody's expecting interest rates to get below 6, and most of them aren't even expecting to get below 6.5, right? Is what the prediction is.
And most aren't expecting 8s or 9s either, right? I mean, they're expecting kind of that 6-7 zone.
6 7s, but when you put the PMI in, Johnny,
the
private mortgage insurance, if you don't put 20% down, you could be almost at 8, or maybe even like 8.15 if you have bad credit and you're not putting a big enough down payment down.
True.
It could be like that. So you might be in the 8s if you have bad credit. And you know what? It's not the end of the world.
It's not.
When I bought my first home, interest rates were probably in the 8s, and I had to pay 9.25 because my credit sucked and I had no money. And I bought that house, and I did very, very well with that house with the 9.25% interest rate.
Well, and you didn't take too big of a bite. You could afford what your obligation was.
I made my payment every month.
Were you balking at the interest rate, or were you just looking at your payment?
I didn't even understand interest rates when I was buying that house. All I remember is, I'll never forget, I was signing that 30-year note at the closing table. And I'll even remember my mortgage payment was $806. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance was $865 a month. And I remember signing that thing. It's like, oh my God, I got to pay this for 30 years. $865, right? Back in 1994, right? So what I'm saying is don't worry too much about the trends and what's happening in the big picture. You should worry about your life.
Yep.
And try to do it that way. Couple other things. Let me go.
While you set that up, I want to make sure everybody knows Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. It is FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Access to the entire team. I'm talking pros. These are experts in their field, and you get them all with one click. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. If you like to pick up the phone, you'll find the hotline 888-973-7828 at floridatalkrealestate.com. That'll be answered by a live body 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And always remember, on Facebook and YouTube as well, like and share. You can change lives, including your very own, with floridatalkrealestate.com.
So I stumbled upon a article that came out in June 2024 about how many realtors there are in the United States, and I got sucked into the rabbit hole. I started reading about all these stats, and I thought it was kind of interesting as some things that I kind of extrapolated that they brought out. So how many realtors do you think there are in the United States right now?
Can you give us, how many are in Florida?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Well, just give us that number, and I'll give you.
That's one of the lead ones. Okay, there's 211,000
in Florida.
360 agents in Florida.
211,000 in Florida.
Mm-hmm. So how many do you think there are in the United States?
6 million.
6 million? Okay.
5.
5 million?
I was going to say 2 million.
1.5 million
was my
agents,
number. I
right?
pushed it up.
1.5.
1.5. Wow.
1.5. And Florida is number one with 211.
So we have
right?
over 10%.
We have over 10%. And then so close is California and Texas, right? So 600,000 plus
Biggest states.
of the,
Yeah,
of course.
makes sense.
Of
That's
1.5.
why I went 5 at about 200,000, and then I was like, I'll fill in the rest. I went to 1.5 and pushed it to 2 because I'm an idiot, evidently.
Well,
And
no.
so that's about a drop of 2.5% from the previous year, the 1.5 million.
Really?
I actually thought it was going to be much more because last year was a very bad year for realtors. So I thought a lot of people would leave.
What was Florida's drop? Was Florida's drop higher?
It didn't say.
Okay.
This is more of a national. The only reason they brought in Florida is because we're number one for agents.
And I
in
mean,
this
just
article.
because, I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of realtors that, just have a license.
Yeah.
They've just had it for so long that okay, why would
I'm going to get to that too. Yes. So, let me see. So when we were I want to get to like productivity. Okay. Oh, okay. I do have by state a little bit. I thought I didn't. Okay. So Florida's number one with 211. California has 209. Texas only has 125. So they weren't close. They said all three were close. Texas only has 125,000 realtors. Texas is where Keller Williams is based. It's based in Austin, Texas. That's where Gary Keller came from.
The mothership, if you will.
New York.
There's 2 motherships apparently there now.
There are now, yes. It's the realtor world and the comedy world.
Yeah. I want to go out to that mothership. I want to go out there. Oh, you want to go there too?
Yeah, I want to go.
Oh, maybe we should go to trip and go over there and do that. That would be fun. I would like to do that.
Remote from there.
Oh, that would be really cool.
If you like comedy, you can consume a ton.
Yeah, I'll call up Joe and we'll borrow his studio for our show.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just call him up. My buddy Joe.
Yeah.
I do like his show. But anyway, so Florida had 200, California had 200, Texas only had 125. Where do you think New York stands? Because New York, a lot of people.
50.
Yeah, 75,000.
Oh, you guys are pretty close. 61, 61, and then Wyoming 2,000. Wyoming,
so about 50,000 realtors from New York are now in Florida.
yeah, exactly. And the Wyoming is the lowest number. They have the least amount of realtors, 2,000. Now, there's only 800,000 people, I think, that live in Wyoming last time I checked. And I know this to be true, that there's hardly any realtors out there because Mike's father, Mike Rao from the mortgage firm, his father needed to buy a house in Wyoming. So I promised I'd help him find somebody a Keller Williams agent out there to help him buy his home. There weren't any Keller Williams agents out there. In fact, there were only 2 agents in the whole city.
Wow.
So I got him. I got him with the
coverage area they have there.
You got a 50% chance to get a good one.
So I got him the Remax agent, who was the number 1 agent out of the 2 agents.
He did 7 transactions. The other guy did 5.
Exactly. And the top cities in the country with the highest employment of real estate agents: Miami, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale has 11,000. Houston has 9,000. Dallas has 9,000. Atlanta 7,000. Phoenix 7,000. So Florida's number 1. I'm surprised there's only 11. That's weird. I thought we had like 6,000 Keller Williams agents just in that area. So I don't know. This is what they're saying. So and this is National Association of Realtors.
But you're telling me that where all the people are in Florida, there's only 11,000 agents. So there's 200,000 agents in the rest of the state where there's nobody. I mean, comparatively,
Yeah, I guess so.
that feels
There's a lot.
erroneous.
Yeah. The largest real estate brands in the country. I've always said that
You got
Keller Williams
Orlando,
has
Tampa,
100 and
Jacksonville.
Okay, yeah. Duval.
yeah, it is. Keller Williams is the number one brand in the country. I've been saying for years now we have 160,000 agents. I apologize, Gary. We have 191,000 agents.
I guess
So we have 30,000 agents more.
a lot of
So
people in
just think about
Orlando,
that. We
yeah.
have 191,000 agents of the 1.5 million total, right? So we're over 10%. We're 1 out of 10 of every agent that's out there. Number two is, I'm surprised about this, Century 21. Remax is number 3. When I started the show, we were with Remax in 2012. They were the number one brokerage in the country. And then Keller Williams became the number one brokerage for the number of agents, but Remax was number one for sales. And then Keller Williams took over everything on that. They were number one for agents and number one for sales. So Keller Williams has been the big 800-pound gorilla lately.
Century 21 was like the image of real estate companies, realtors when I was growing up, and I don't feel like they're that big anymore.
No, that's why I was surprised when I saw Century 21. They had that jacket, right? It was almost like the Grandmaster's jacket, right? And they had that jacket, and that was like their brand. What was it? A gold jacket?
I thought it was like a
like
gold
a yellow jacket.
Yeah, it was like Hall of
they had
Famers.
that. That just tells you how out people don't even know, Then let me see. I don't want to do top brokerages. I don't want to do. Oh, this is kind of interesting. I didn't even read this. Highest paid real estate brands. So, where do people make the most money? What brands? Which brokerages on average produce the highest producing realtors? And if you work at Remax, they're saying the highest paid real estate brands is Remax, where the agents get about $105,000 a year. Sotheby's is $96,000, Compass is $93,000, Century 21 is $92,000, Berkshire Hathaway, which is a much smaller brokerage, is $89,000. Keller Williams isn't even in the top 5. I think that's because we have so many agents, it dilutes us. But also, just like a lot of brokerages, there aren't always full-time agents of that 190,000.
Like Ross said, a lot of people might just have their license and they're just not active.
They got their business card with their photo on it from 30 years ago. They just keep that.
Just keep it.
Yeah.
And it didn't. I thought it was going to say how many deals are done per agent, but they don't have that in here. So this is what I wanted to do. If there's 1.5 million agents out there, and we only had about 4 million sales last year, right? That means that what's 4 divided by 1.5?
2.8.
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay. 4 divided by 1.5, 2.6. Nice. So that means the average realtor did 2.6 deals a year if you average it out, right? That means that the 1.5 million realtors sold on average 2.66 deals each for the year, which is pretty lame. Right? Imagine less than 3.
Take that. What's the average real estate transaction? What's the average sales price?
They don't have that here, but I told it. Well, I do. We do have it. The national figure, not state by state,
like
is a little over 400,000. It's like, I think the last time I checked was 410 or something.
Whew.
So if you're getting, let's just round it off to 3%. If you're getting 3% commission, you do 4 $400,000 houses, you're making about $12,000 a deal. So 12 is 24, and then a half a deal is 6. So you're making about 30,000 a year is what that's averaged out, right? How many single agents do you think grossed $1 million in commissions out of the 1.5 million last year? How many do you think actually grossed $1 million in commissions? No, not teams and everything, just like
200.
a single person.
200.
Okay, 200.
I was gonna say like 1,000.
Wow, I'm surprised at how I expect if he'll say 10,000 or something. It was 342 last year. Only 342 agents grossed $1 million in commissions. Now, grossing $1 million doesn't mean you're a millionaire by any means, because you got a lot of overhead.
Yep.
But I just found that to be interesting that only 342 out of 1.5 million hit that goal. Now, if you put the teams in there and you have team leaders and stuff, I was just looking at one of my old colleagues. He has 400. Last year, he did 432 deals. Now he has a team. And I was trying to extrapolate that, and he probably sold about $160 million and $160 million to $200 million last year in real estate transactions. So that guy would not be in this pool. And if you did 200 million in real estate transactions, you gross somewhere between 4 million and 6 million, gross. But he has a big team. I was looking at it because I started going down the hole with him because he has so many long days on market and so many expired listings. He does so many deals that
they just take them though.
Yeah, if he has an expired listing or something doesn't sell, it's like, oh well, I got 400 other people I'm working with.
Right.
What do I care?
Volume is one way to get her done.
Yeah, it's kind of like those mortgage companies, the Scud missile companies and stuff, where they'll just approve you, and worry about you really being approved after you get in contract, because they don't care, right? Because if they're it's all a numbers game.
Churn them out.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting about these stats. Now, on the flip side, what I want to talk about is blind offers and permitting horror stories. I'm going to give you really two. For sellers, I'm going to give you tips about what happens when people turn in offers where they say, hey, I'm going to buy your house fast for cash, and you don't have to pay real estate commissions, and you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that. And I'm going to give a real life example of those offers versus what this person got on the MLS. And there's a huge difference between what he was being offered and what he actually got, in a positive way, because he made the right decisions. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the value or not the value of pulling permits, right? Nice. In your house.
So you say blind offers. It makes me think, I was at a red light the other day and I saw a couple of cars going back and forth to each other, and there's a lot of hand gestures. It might have been a deaf offer that was being
deaf offer. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a
now
good
that
one.
I'm like, oh, they might have just been working out a real estate transaction.
Yeah.
And at the end, one of the guys like, no, I don't like that number.
And he gave a specific number one.
He's like, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Firm on that.
The way drivers are around here, they might have been blind too.
Yeah, truth. Just very few offerings at that point.
It's a red light, no problem.
We still got plenty of time. Of course, you're always welcome. You want to get involved with the conversation at hand, don't be shy. 877-927-6969. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course the .com. All very valuable, so like it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
I can see clearly now.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We are expecting warm conditions through the rest of the day today, above average humidity for the early parts of February, and we will continue to see beautiful sunny skies through much of the rest of this weekend. We will see above average temperatures persist into next week as well.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DiPaola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
That's it, 877-927-6969. Got about 20 minutes remaining on this Saturday. More than enough time to take your phone call. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. He'll line you up if you make that call. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning.
Good morning. I'm Johnny C., your air traffic control, your old buddy, your old pal. Ross Komarinetz is with us on this Saturday, as he usually is, by the way. You find him at Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And Jimmy D's here, too. 13 plus years now, I've told you. He runs a top-producing Keller Williams team. Florida Home Pros, Keller Williams Innovations. You find Jim DiPaola. Jimmy D, how you be?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy South Florida, everybody. Can't wait to, after the show, I'm going to be showing Danielle, and Lynn Holmes, his first-time home buyers, going to be going out in the acreage. Looking forward to that today.
Cool.
And helping our first-time home buyers out there who are going to be getting a down payment assistance. We just don't know if it's going to be $10,000 or about $22,000, depending on which program they do and what time they end up buying. So pretty cool.
Very cool.
Just want to do this because we've been doing it every week, and I just want to keep it going. There are 58,359 properties on our MLS right now for residential. Last week, we were at 58.7-ish, so we're actually down a little bit. That's the first time that I've checked in a while that we actually went down a little bit. And let's see how many foreclosures there are for sale. Out of the 58,000, there are 256 foreclosures for sale. And short sales, there are another 140. So we're talking about 396, I think, is 396. We're at 470 something the week before. So either some of those went away or they got picked up as pending,
right?
And we don't see many more coming back. So anybody saying the real estate market is crashing or about to crash when you have 58,000 properties for sale and 396 are short sales and foreclosures, not really statistically relevant now, that comment. Now, I am getting more calls for people that are struggling with their either mortgage or their condo costs, unexpected raises in their condo fees. And I am seeing that. So that trend we might see that.
Sure.
But it isn't going to be at least right now, we're not talking about systemic real estate collapse. There might be pockets here and there of where people are going to go. Also,
Can you maybe shed some light on some validity of something that I consumed? Because
Sure.
I couldn't really find a way to verify it. So I was, the Villages.
I was just watching a couple videos about that.
Okay, so I was reading that's like one of the hottest real estate markets in Florida.
Not anymore.
I also read that it's like leading in foreclosures.
Oh, I didn't see that. What I saw a guy, and I've been watching a couple days because I'm thinking about doing similar reports. And I'm trying to watch how he does the videos.
Uh-huh.
And he's a realtor up there. He's got a really good site. I'm very impressed with the information he gives. He's very wonky like me.
Nice.
And he's been following how many houses are for sale in the Villages. And what he's seeing is that they started out like, on the couple of videos I watched, he's doing a weekly report like we're kind of doing right now. And he was at like 500 and something. And then it got all the way up to 600 and something in that community. And they're also seeing price drops. And he's talking about why that's happening and what's happening over there. And we're going to talk about this on the next show in more detail, is the people are getting sticker shock after they buy the house, that their tax bill went up. And I watched it because he had it on the video. Like, let's say that you bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Village and you were charged $1,700 for the property tax bill the first year you moved there. Then the next year you're at $5,000, and the year after that you're at $5,900, and they're in total sticker shock that they can't afford the difference in the tax bill, right? And they should have been told by their mortgage companies or their realtor, hey, your first tax bill is going to be extremely low because it's probably being taxed just on the land because you have a new construction home, and that the next year your bill's going to go up. So I would expect that first jump. You went through that, right?
Yeah.
You
But we knew it. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Plus, we also had Mike on our side to help us learn about portability, which is very important if you're moving within the state, of course.
Right.
I'm thinking this as he's saying it, and I'm like, oh, so I'm also guessing a lot of these people from out of state,
Right. Don't have portability.
Yeah.
That's correct. You're absolutely correct. But
And
what was surprising to me though was that I had expected that first big jump from first year to second year, but the second year to third year, he saw another significant jump like 10 to 15% more than that second year. And then I was like, why would that happen? And the only thing I can think it happened is because the property values went up that year, right? Like just like everything else.
And it wasn't homestead.
I don't get that.
Right.
I don't know.
Isn't it 3%?
Right, 3% max
with the homestead. So
So,
they're not homestead.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Clearly didn't homestead.
Right. Yeah. You would think. Right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, those 50, it sounds like we've had a couple people move in those communities, right? There was a guy named Bob and his wife. They went up there. They've been really happy. I haven't talked to them about a year and a half, but they were really happy.
I think your dyslexia is kicking in.
It isn't Bob?
It's actually Bob.
Was it Bob?
Yeah.
Bob, not Bob. Yeah, Bob, not Bob. Bob, not Bob. So they're up there. They're really happy. They're very social people. They loved everybody in their neighborhood. That's what the Village is all about. All of that experience of being very active and everything. But one of the things going to happen over time is that this is the biggest 55 and over group we're going to have for a very long time. And once they all start dying off, those 55 and overs, there's going to be too many 55 and over homes for the amount of people they're going to replace the people that pass
at a not very affordable rate.
Well, I think that the prices are going to go down.
They'll have to.
They'll
right?
have to
Yeah.
because there's going to be more houses than people that can fill them,
Sure.
or they're going to change it from not 55 and over. They might
Yes.
just change the rules.
Another
That
option.
might happen. And
Yeah.
I'm not talking about tomorrow. We're talking about longer term
I
trends
know
for
30,
Florida.
40-year-olds that like to ride around in boombox golf carts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about blind offers here, because I was reading, I got a blind offer yesterday. So a blind offer is when you have a house on the market and a company or a person turns in an offer. They've never seen the house. That's what makes it blind. They don't have any idea about the house other than what they see on the internet. And then they turn in an offer. And these offers are ridiculously low. So the house I had on the market was on the market for $530, and they turned in a cash offer for $386,000 on a $530,000 house, right? And that they do this all the time. And then the pitch is, you can get both sides, Mr. Agent. You can get both sides of the real estate commission because you're going to represent us. We're going to be cash. We can close in 21 days. We might even pay the seller's closing costs at $386,000. I hope you are, right?
Yeah,
and we're going to pay all this. And there's a lot. What I'm really surprised about is how many sellers think that those offers are something that they should consider instead of putting their house on the market if it isn't on the market already. And I'm like, are you crazy to do that? Why would you take 65 cents on the dollar of what your house is worth just because you don't want to show the property or quote pay real estate commissions or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you a real life example. So obviously, so they put in the email, this is what we're offering you. Please respond ASAP because we have other people we want to buy houses from, and we need to know if you're going to be next. So right away, now I always tell my sellers, hey, we're going to get these blind offers, and if there's 65 cents on the dollar, can you allow me to automatically reject those? I will tell you about them, but I don't want to waste my time with them or your time. Can I just reject them? So they always say yes. So yesterday I had fun and I wrote this. They had this big long email justifying why they wanted to pay $386, and they said, respond ASAP. So I wrote, offer rejected, no counter. Hope this was fast enough for you. That was my email back to the people. And they sent an email back. Well, if your if your seller ever changed their mind, we're here for you. I thought, and I was thinking, you said I had to act fast.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So anyway, just thought it's funny. So blind offers. So let me give you a real life example. We had a house in the market in West Palm. It was an investor special. It was really beat up home in an okay neighborhood, middle class neighborhood, but it needed everything: roof, windows, not necessarily doors, roof, windows, flooring, new kitchen, new bathrooms, new paint, upgrade electric because the electrical panel stab lock and it needs to be replaced, aluminum wiring. Basically, every square inch of that house had to be touched. Then you had to do some exterior work, and then you had to do some landscaping work on top of it. So every square inch of this house had to be touched. So we put the house on the market, and we had a lot of activity from real life people coming out to look at the property, and we had a lot of blind offers, a lot. Okay. Like 7, 8, 9 blind offers. The blind offers ranged from 200,000. I looked yesterday, 200,000 to 283,000. Now, instead of taking those blind offers, we buy houses fast cash. Why pay a real estate commission? Don't worry about appraisal, blah, 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 blah. We took a investor offer with hard money lending. And what do you think that investor, not blind offer, agreed to pay for this property? So the range from the blind offers was 200 to 283,000. What do you think we actually took by putting it on the market?
320.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably 50,000 more.
370.
Ooh.
So between 170 and 90,000, roughly 190,000, 170,000 more than those blind offers.
And that's from an investor.
Yes,
So they
and
have
that
margins that they're trying to work with
and,
too.
and that was still an investor. So if you have to pay the real estate commission and your normal closing costs, do you think it's going to cost you $90,000 to $170,000 for those extra fees? No. So don't get trapped.
As a seller, you don't even have to pay commission anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So hey,
so don't fall trapped to the blind offers. Even if you're weak and you think the house is like, well, I have a septic tank and it's not working, or my roof's got a hole that's the size of a basketball in it and it's raining into the house. Don't just go and take these blind offers. If you have a good agent, they're going to find investors that are going to give you the most that they can give you.
Right.
So we know right now that an investor was willing to pay $370,000 for that property. Now, we had to go through 20-something showings in 4 days to find that person. But do you think it's worth $90,000 to $170,000 to put your house on the market?
Yes, sir.
And then go through 20 showings that you're not even there for, I'm there for.
Yeah.
Right? To
I'll
make
have
that
you
extra
do 40
money.
showings if you have to.
Thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome.
So
Yeah, right. And that was an investor, you say? That wasn't even somebody that was going to buy it to live in it.
Nope. And we did have other buyers like that, and they were still giving us like $350, $360, but they didn't have the right financing, or they needed money back at closing. Like they needed much, so we weren't really going to get the full amount. So why not take the $370 effectively cash?
Yeah.
That deal's kind of a done deal. We're just waiting for the probate judge to sign off on it. So that's why I can talk about it. But don't fall victim to blind offers, and don't fall into that trap. If you think that you got a piece of junk house that you just want to get rid of as fast as you can, but you also want to make the most money, you got to give us a call, because sometimes we buy houses fast for cash kind of companies. They might be your best option.
They might.
But don't take the blind offer. Make them go out there and look at it and find out, are you really going to give me this? Because this is what they do with the blind offers. First of all, if you're stupid enough to take a $200,000 offer, they're probably just going to say, we're buying it. But they really don't do that. What they do is they put you into a contract where you have a 15, 20-day inspection period. And then they just want to lock you in so that they can push everybody out. And then they're going to come take a look at the house and decide if they want to buy it, because they got this 15-day inspection period, and they can decide whether they want to buy it or not during that time. So don't fall trap to that, people.
Wow.
Give us a call. And
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
yeah, thank you. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was blind offers. What else do I have here? I wanted to switch over from the permits, the permit horror stories. I've had a lot of permit horror stories in the last couple weeks, and I'm like, really? Some of them aren't as horror as they could have been.
Well, permits that aren't closed, open permits.
It could be all kinds of things, but the thing I want to talk about, because those can all happen, but the thing that drives me the most crazy is when you're doing an upgrade to your house, but you decide you don't want to pull the permits because you don't want to deal with the city building department because they're a pain in the butt. And then when you go to sell the house and you haven't had the stuff permitted, it could really affect you in a lot of different ways. You could, first of all, now the seller disclosures require you to, it actually asks you in the seller disclosure, have you ever done any work on the property that was supposed to have a permit and you didn't pull it? So if you put down no on that, right, and you obviously knew that you are not telling the truth, you can get in trouble from the new buyer, who can sue you. Hey, you said you pulled permits on this garage that you converted into a bedroom. Now I'm being told by the city that it isn't, and you didn't disclose that. So that could be a liability to you. The other issue that can happen, and I've had this happen a couple times, where people put on a new roof, but they didn't pull a permit and there's no record of it. And now they're trying to get an insurance. The new buyer is trying to get an insurance policy on the house, and the roof says 2000 and I'm making it, or 1997, but they're telling, oh no, we put on a new roof in 2010. Well, a 2010 roof versus a 1997 roof would be a big difference, right, Ross?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no proof that the work was done, that could be a big problem insuring the house, right? I know that you're going to tell me about the wind mitt, and that really it's going to depend on what the inspector says, right?
Yeah, because insurance companies do understand that sometimes there isn't a permit. So a lot of times maybe they can't get, they might not be able to get a certain discount. Also, I know with citizens, if there's no permit on the roof, you have to submit it to them unbound for them to review it and then approve it. So it can create a headache, especially in a real estate transaction like that, because if we're going to close, if you say, hey, I need the insurance for closing next week, 7 days from today.
Mhm.
Well, hey, I got to submit this to Citizens, and they're going to look at it when they feel like it. I mean, they do respect the closing date, but they don't care to rush it until the closing date's like tomorrow. And you call them and they just go, we'll get to it.
Yeah. And in a permit, I used to flip a lot of homes, and I always pulled permits because I felt like it added value when the buyer was buying it, because there was a lot of competition when I was flipping homes. So there were a lot of flippers in the same neighborhood I was working in. So what I learned really early on was pull the permit because nobody else is. And when people are coming and going, hey, they come and look at my house and they go, hey, I could buy the other house down the street for $15,000 less. And I'm like, yeah, do you see this 4 inches stack of paper I've got right here? This is the county looking at every single thing I did. Ask them for their paperwork and see what you think. And then find out how much it would cost to make sure that everything was done to code with them, and see if that 15,000 is a real value in savings or not. And then that would win me the deal usually, as long as my house met their needs and everything.
Sure.
And really, a lot of times permits are a few $100s to do. So don't get burned by not pulling permits. I just had a customer, a really great customer, is a big fan of the radio show, Bobby, and he just found out that he had somebody put in a new AC for him, didn't pull a permit because he was a buddy. He never put in a heater into the AC. There was no heater in the AC. Well, when you sell a house in Florida, you have to have a heater. You don't have to have an AC. If you have FHA or VA financing, you have to have a heater in the house.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it's not AC.
Wait a minute. That's backwards.
Yeah, that is backwards.
No, but it is. You have to have the heater. So we had
Insurance companies, a lot of them they're kind of cool with that if it's south of Orlando.
Cool with that. Are they cool with that?
Yeah. Nice.
So
I would think the AC, because of knocking out the humidity with mold issue, I would think that's the wrong side to have a mandate.
FHA's, it's for the whole country. So, it's rules for the whole country. They don't have it per region. You know what I mean? So up north, it's really important.
Sure.
So now, luckily, he was able to get another AC because he's under contract to sell his house. And that's when we found out that there was no heater. We thought the heater wasn't working. And he's like, I don't have one. So
is it there?
Yeah.
Never run, ever.
So what ended up happening was he got an AC guy out there yesterday. He put in the new heater. Thank God it was able to be put one in and everything's okay. But if he had just pulled the permit originally, it wouldn't have been an issue. It wouldn't have been, I got to rush and do this during the inspection period and stuff like that. Pull permits. It's worth it. It's worth it to you in the long run, and it adds value to a house to pull the permit, and it protects you from any headaches. Way more headaches. If you get caught without the permit, way more headaches than the headache of pulling the permit. Way more and more costly.
Yeah.
You're not saving money by not pulling the permit. So be smart. Pull your permits.
Yeah, permits aren't expensive, are they?
No, they're not that much, and everybody's so afraid of them, and it isn't that scary. Not 99 times out of 100.
$75, 250, like in a ballpark range from the ones that I've dealt with in the past.
Me too. Yeah.
Something like that.
Nobody wants the man coming in and telling them
exactly.
what to do.
Yeah,
and the contractors don't want to fill out the paperwork. They don't want to fill out the paperwork and everything and go through the hassle of that. Contractors don't want to pull the permits either. Kind of stay away from them. We're going to have an attorney on the show very soon who's going to be talking about dealing with disreputable contractors and how to deal with them and make sure you don't get burned.
Oh,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I just interviewed the guy's name is Andrew.
Nice.
And we're going to have him on soon.
That'll be good conversation.
Yeah, it'll be great stuff. So
Nice.
if you're thinking about hiring contractors, you got a project coming up, you got to catch that show.
Oh, good. Well,
Thanks, guys.
We always have lots of great information to be had, and anytime we can get special guests to come in to give us insight into some of the areas that are maybe a little more foreign to the team, that is super valuable. But the beautiful thing is this is a team. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is a team of pros. And when you start getting pros, experts in their field, man, that expertise is vast. And it may not be exactly what they do, but man, through the years of doing what they do so well, they learn other aspects that touch their field. So you're really guided by some of the best. And what's super powerful, and I've grown to really love about this team, it's one of the things I've been trying to work on. Sometimes the answer is I don't know, and we're going to go get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I've really been working on that in the last probably 5 years of my life because I was always quick to be like, oh, I think I got sort of that answer. Sometimes the best answer is I don't know. Let's find out. That's a beautiful thing when you have a team that knows what they don't know and where to go to get the right answers. And it's just one amazing aspect of the team at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. They know a lot. They also know what they don't know and where to go get the right answers so that when you're buying a home, selling a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do. Anything that touches the world of real estate, you're going to get that done right the first time because that's important to you and it's important to them. It's a symbiotic relationship, truly. Timothy, I hope you have a great weekend, my friend.
You as well, Johnny, Jim, and Ross. Have a great weekend, guys.
Who you got in the Royal Rumble tonight? You better say CM Punk.
Yes, yeah, him.
Best in the
Or her.
world.
Is that him or her?
It's a him.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, used to be a her. It's a him now.
Ah.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Ross.